Can you see me?
Yeah. I have some annoying ping noise going on. It just keeps on fucking going. Boo!
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm letting Will in.
I heard that last week, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, there it goes again.
Yo, what's up, Will?
Yo, what's good?
Stops fucking up now. Woo, yay.
That's you, Mrs. Hogan.
I'm kick your ass for that. Isn't
No,
it?
no, you had to comment. No. You started this morning. You started this morning when you made that little slick comment.
I just wanted to have a wholesome podcast. But we really gonna be on bullshit this whole time. We can't just introduce the topic or anything. We're just gonna jump on bullshit. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, no, we could do it after the podcast.
Okay, cool.
All right,
or
cool.
During, whatever. So,
whatever you want to do, All right, Mrs. Hogan. All right, Mrs. Hogan, whatever you want to do.
Let's just start this podcast up. It's been long enough. The thing has been recording for 5 minutes and nobody was here.
Terrific.
Hello and welcome to the We Are Wrestling Podcast, our live panel number 7. Today we'll be taking on second golden era of wrestling and the wrestling we got from that helped build on the modern wrestling era and especially the attitude era, which is special for all of us. Today we'll be talking about Bret Hart, and the conversation will be led by
Willie Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So good evening. How you doing today? What's going on?
All right.
Minus the mishaps with the fucking app.
This app is terrible.
Absolute ass. Absolute ass. I don't. Anyway.
What's good with the Loki look today? What's going on, Lanai? I like the Loki look.
Oh, my daughter picked out the colors I was wearing in the shirt. I just like my llama because llama.
All right, so let's stop with the joke and let's get serious here. Yeah, let's get serious. All right. So,
I'm still here. I'm just walking to another room.
Yeah.
He's always in the dark.
Get my notes together. So as Lanaya said in the introduction today, we're doing it on wrestlers that played for the second generation. So I did mine's on Bret the Hitman Hart, which, to some people, he's the greatest ever, top 5. Some reports got him ranked as the greatest wrestler ever, So what I'm really going to touch on today is really how he paved the way. I did a little history, some stuff I was educated on that I didn't know. So let me start off with this. Bret Hart actually started as a referee. Anybody know that? So he started
that's new to me.
So he actually started as a referee in 1976. In 1978, he started as a wrestler for Stampede Wrestling through his father, the legendary Stu Hart. So what I like about Bret Hart is just his charisma. His charisma is legendary. The best there was, the best there ever will be. Like that will reign on forever. Bret Hart is one of the few wrestlers that won championships in 5 different decades. 532 championships in total. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, some people has him as the greatest, and these is kind of the things like I'm gonna go over today. Why people will say he's the greatest, right? A 5-time WWE champion, a 2-time WCW champion. He was the first WCW champion born outside the U.S. So makes him the first Canadian world champion that they had. Bret Hart in the 90s had the most combined days as champion, 654 days, which is astounding, definitely an astounding feat. Everybody know that he has.
That is a long time.
Huh?
I said that's a long time.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great time. His finisher, the sharpshooter, and this is some of the stuff I was educated on. He actually learned that from Conan, and Pat Patterson. So that move he learned from them. You know, he definitely influenced a lot of generations like Kurt Angle, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, John Moxley, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit. To me, one of my favorite matches was that tribute match he had with Owen Hart. That match, he had with Chris Benoit for the Owen Hart, the tribute match. I think that was one of the greatest wrestling matches ever. So that's just my opinion. His name, the Hitman, as you know, he got it from Thomas the Hitman Hearns. I guess he heard it and he stuck with it ever since. You know, Bret Hart was the second Triple Crown winner, and he was the first wrestler to be inducted 3 times. 2006, Solo, 2019, Hart Foundation, and just recently the submission match with the legendary Stone Cold Steve Austin. All right. So again, these is
I guess that gives him the most Hall of Fame.
What happened?
That gives him the most Hall of Fame.
Yeah, definitely. 3 times.
I get because I think Stone Cold's only in there once and twice.
Yeah, Stone Cold's in there twice.
Now, absolutely. But so I can't think of anybody else that's in there 3 times.
You know, that's a good call out. I think the next person I might be there 3 times. It might be Triple H. I think he's going to be the next one to get there 3 times. But we could talk about that at a later time. Some of the stuff I highlighted was really the top 5 Bret Hart matches. To me, the best one I just said, one of my best was really the Chris Benoit tribute match, the Owen Hart tribute match. Number 2, one of the favorite ones was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. As you know, I just said it. That's in the Hall of Fame for WrestleMania. Bret Hart versus his brother, Owen Hart. You know, that was a steel cage match, SummerSlam 1994. Another iconic match was Bret Hart versus the Bulldog, SummerSlam 1992. Bret Hart versus his brother again, WrestleMania 10, and again, Hart versus Austin, WrestleMania 13. So again, those is probably one of the best matches I think that man has ever been into in terms of him being like the greatest. Now, to me, you know, let's talk about on the mic personality. I think Bret Hart was one of the best on the mic. You know, best there ever was, best there ever will be. You know, I think he was very iconic on the mic. I think him being part of one of the best stables ever, that being the Hart Foundation, I think the second coming. To me, my favorite year for Bret Hart was actually in 1997, where, you know, it was pretty much Canada versus the world kind of thing. You know, him and DX going back and forth. Him and Shawn Michaels going back and forth at it. To me, it was very entertaining, very fun.
I had just watched where they had the whole racial promo thing, to where the 3 of them were all talking about racism and trying to call Bret Hart a racist.
Yeah, you can't say that now.
He's Canadian. He's racist.
Yeah, his wife is black, so we gotta, you know, miss that up. But,
Triple H even goes as far to be like, and he even said the N-word in the locker room. Triple H said that.
Yeah, like Vince never said that before, but okay, that's a different comment for a different day.
Yeah.
Because Triple H ain't gonna bring that up. Vince wearing do-rags and stuff, you know. But as I bring it to 97, to me that was one of the most memorable years. And when, you know, with Bret Hart, with the whole Hart Foundation, then going back with Triple H, then going back with DX, especially Shawn Michaels. I know we had a little debate in the room before we got on the podcast about the Heartbreak Kid. I personally thinking about it now, when you get older, was that really a shot towards Bret Hart the whole time, the Heartbreak Kid? Shawn Michaels, that name?
Oh, what?
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gus.
No, no. I was gonna add on to what you were saying about his mic skills. You know what I liked about Bret Hart was the fact that he played the straight man. He was never overly emotional. He was never funny. He was just playing.
Oh damn!
That's app.
Come on, man.
I'm like texting him right now,
Yeah,
furiously.
text him.
This shit's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
And for
nah,
folks that's Riverside for you.
yeah, we do apologize for that.
Jankiness, this bullshit ass app.
But continue on, Will.
Yeah, but like I said, I think to me, like I'm saying again, '97 to me was like one of my favorite years of Bret Hart. That whole Hart Foundation DX thing, him and Shawn Michaels, that thing was just getting too personal. I remember and I'm real surprised. They actually had like Vince came up with the idea where, Shawn Michaels put the Canadian flag in his nose, like blew his nose on the Canadian flag. I'm real. I mean, Vince probably heard some shit over that. I believe he did because I thought that was straight up disrespectful. Like that's something that's something you just do not do. I don't care if it's acting or not, playing. That's something you do not do. But like I said,
I can just imagine him and his throaty ass say, "Yeah, go ahead and wipe your nose with it. Wipe your nose with the flag."
And again, I mean, listen, we're not in the locker room with these people, but that added to the animosity between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart.
For sure.
Like that's what to go, Gus. That's what made it great. That animosity had it, even though it was disrespectful. It added to the fuel with them. Go ahead, Gus.
Janky ass fucking app, yo.
And now we can't hear him.
He'll work his way in. Don't worry. He's loading.
Now, I want to hear what Gus got to say because I like what all of you speak, but he be saying some real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There he goes.
Oh, come on. This fucking app.
So,
all right, I'm
sorry. But like
I'm about to go Bret Hart talking like Bill Goldberg on Riverside.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, yes, go ahead, Gus. Go ahead, man.
So what I was saying was I like Bret because he was different on the mic than anybody else. He came up in a time where he was the smaller guy. He was surrounded by behemoth type men. You had Ultimate Warrior, you had Macho Man, you had you had Earthquake, you had Typhoon, you had these massive men who their style of promos was screaming into the mic, but he was so subtle. He was steady. He was different. When he said something, you paid attention and you knew he was about his shit.
Oh yeah. And
a lot more
it's crazy because when you think about it, it's kind of like the dilemma where WWE's now, but Vince, because obviously he's the one that picks the face. They had so many faces in the early '90s, man. You had Hogan, you had Bret Hart, you had Owen. I mean, I think Owen is the greatest wrestler ever not win a world title. You have Lex Luger that was trying to get a push. You know what I'm saying? Razor Ramon, the bad guy. So I think the Undertaker. So I think he did what he can do to bring the company up. You know what I'm saying? And
I think if you
look, what can you say?
I think something now that I'm thinking about it too, just because of the span of time and the fact that he was in so many territories and WCW as well, he's maybe wrestled more Hall of Famers than anybody.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think of somebody he hasn't wrestled. and it's hard.
What? It's so crazy. I think, so crazy. Anybody that wrestled at the Stu Hart school, like Bret Hart, Owen, Lance Storm, Chris Jericho. I mean, they all are nice. Like, they all are real good, man. And I just they all are real good. I just wish should have done better with all of them, to be honest, man.
And they all had such variety of styles too. Like there was a great clip, because I was trying to watch some Bret Hart stuff earlier. There's a great 4-minute clip of just all the ridiculously athletic things that he would do in the ring too. Lots of just maneuvers and just body twists and stuff that you just don't see a lot of people do. And it's pretty easy to say he might be the greatest technician of all time.
Yeah, man. Like I said, on the mic, he was good. I'm surprised nobody bought this out, but I remember that promo where I guess this was in Detroit, and Thomas the Hitman Hers was standing right in the front, and he said, "There's only one Hitman here, and that's me." And them two was about to fight over it, man. Vince was a creative genius with that promo right there, and I just found it a few days ago that I thought Bret Hart got that name from somewhere else. I did not know he got that from Thomas Hearns. I was kind of surprised.
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
So again, but I know Gus is going to talk about Shawn Michaels, which I'm definitely interested in hearing that. But I think one of the craziest stables ever is the Montreal Screwjob. And like I said in the chat, I'm gonna see it from both,
absolutely.
I'm gonna see it from both angles. I'm gonna talk about Bret Hart and Vince. One thing I know.
Was anybody actually watching that night? Because I watched that night.
I heard about it.
Oh yeah, I remember that night very clearly, bro.
Yeah, I watched that night.
I know Bret Hart. One thing I learned and read up on and even heard, he refused to lose in Canada, especially at a main marquee event. And I know for a fact, he was on his way going to WCW. And Vince supposedly Bret Hart was supposed to win. That's what Vince said. So I see it from Vince's standpoint. I see it from Bret Hart's standpoint, and you can disagree about this, but Vince pretty much thing was he did not want Bret to win. Simple fact is he didn't want him to bring the championship to WCW. He didn't want him to leave and bring the title, because I believe Medusa. I believe Medusa did that when she bought the championship belt for women's, and she threw the shit right in the trash, right? So. So
yeah, that was one hell of a moment for wrestling TV. Just watching her dunk that thing in a garbage can.
Right.
I remember that watching that too, and my grandmother was watching that.
I think that took it to a higher level. To me, at that point, it wasn't no more competitiveness. It was some real beef going on between Ted Turner and Vince McMahon at that point. Eric Bischoff was just pretty much doing his dirty work. That's all he was doing. And we can get to that at another day. But
yeah, ultimately, if you look at it right from Vince's point of view, as dastardly as an act as that is, he was protecting his business by doing
absolutely
that.
Yes.
And correct. I know a lot of people are going to hate. No, you should have honored. He was protecting his business.
Right.
You know what I mean? Bret has been known to be a very honor-bound guy, but. Right. I don't know from if I'm the owner, I don't know if I'm willing to take that shot.
Right. So
well, I saw an interview with Bret that he said that he was gonna drop it the next night on Raw. I forget to who.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same token, think about it. How many times have people said something and it's a completely different thing the next day? How many times have you loaned somebody money? Yeah, I'll pay you tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and no, I'll pay you next week. And then next week comes and I'll pay you next week. But they never had any intention to pay you.
Right.
Yeah. One of the other things is that Vince did is that he actually pushed. He helped push for Bret to get more money from WCW. I think the final offer was $8 million, and he told him, he was like, well, I won't offer you $8 million, but tell them I'll offer you $8 million, so they'll give you $10 million. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, because Bret had like a 20-year contract with WWE. So he had a 20-year contract, and I think it was not, the math wasn't adding up, and he did what he had to do. But when you talk about the screw job, that arena was sold out, and to me, like I said, that was the height of this storyline with USA versus Canada. For Bret Hart to lose in Montreal, I think that was a smack to his face, even though it's a business. Now we talk about the screw job. Actually, I read up that Earl Hebner has something to do with it, and him and Bret Hart was best friends. They was tight. They saying he has something to do with it. He was just following.
Well, there's definitely a couple of guys that were in on it, obviously, because Vince couldn't do it alone.
Now,
Earl Hebner had to have been on it. Shawn Michaels, he admits in his book that he was in on it after years and years and years of denying it. Okay.
Yeah,
but
he just played it up like he didn't know, so that way Bret wouldn't attack him.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's what he said Vince told him to do. He said, listen, I think he told Shawn Michaels, and I think he told Kevin Nash, whatever you guys, or even Triple H, whatever you guys do, you guys don't know shit. This is I'm gonna take the heat on this. You guys just like you don't know anything that occurred.
Yeah, because I remember,
and that's the way they played it.
No, because I guess him and Shawn Michaels was in the same locker room, and he asked Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Nash wasn't there at the time.
You have something to do with it. You really do think Shawn Michaels was going to tell him to his face that, oh no, I had nothing to do with it? Yes, I had something to do with it. Let's go with this. Bret Hart would have whipped Shawn Michaels' ass. Let's go with what it is. And I remember at the time,
that's why he lied.
Bret Hart's wife got involved, and Triple H was laughing, and you know what I'm saying, and he was like, "Yo, don't laugh or whatever." All I know, if I'm defeated and somebody laughed at my wife, I'm kicking the dude's ass straight up. That's called what it is. I'm kicking the dude's ass. I'm letting him F out. So I just see from both standpoints, as a business side and Bret losing in Canada, I just think that was Bret done in that company for Vince and helping him out. For Vince to really screw him like that, I thought that was jacked up. That's just my personal opinion. I see it from his standpoint, but Vince probably didn't want another nightmare like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to let you go to WCW as the champion. So, as everybody know, he went to WCW. He couldn't wrestle for a period of time because of the whole situation with WWE. Like, he couldn't wrestle. That's why he was just coming on as the enforcer and just giving mics and things like that. I just think the Montreal school job, they actually, again, that's one of them darkest moments where it's always going to be conspiracy theories about what really happened. The only one that really knows what happened is Vince. That's it. Whoever he told. I think Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they're not really telling the real truth what happened, why he did it. Only Vince knows what he did, and his wife, obviously. Only people that know.
I know Sergeant Slaughter, he wasn't in on it, but he was there. He wasn't in on it. I just watched him tell his whole end of it. Jim Ross was the one that told about the betting war, to up his money because Jim Ross had a hand in that. Jim Ross didn't know about the screw job. I think in the end it was Earl, Pat Patterson, what's his name? God damn it. Of the Stooges, the other one. And
B, right?
And that's about it. I think probably, and Sean, that those are probably the only people that really knew. I know you had named Nash earlier, but Nash was over in WCW, so he wasn't there. Triple H.
No, that was my mistake. Yeah, I was thinking H. Yeah, H definitely knew.
Yeah, he probably knew, but he wasn't down there really at ringside, I think.
They definitely told him no, but he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And you know what's so crazy? Like, to me, Undertaker kept our locker room together. He was the main force that kept our locker room together. Because I think during this history that happened, he was going to knock somebody out. I just forgot who it was. But Undertaker, man, all I can say, man, I'm glad him and Bret was like really tight because he saw the bullshit too. He saw the bullshit. He saw the bullshit, man. He saw the bullshit when they was fucking. You know,
also,
when they was doing what? Listen, if Triple
also
H
Rick
is in
Rude.
something, Shawn Michaels is definitely involved in it. Triple H don't act alone. He does not act alone when he does not act alone. Shawn Michaels is always involved with Triple H. They're like that. So we definitely he knew. He definitely knew.
This also led to the only moment this happened. This led to Rick Rude leaving the same night and going to WCW the very next day.
Yeah,
and because Raw was taped, he appeared on Raw, and then
he appeared on 2 shows at the same time. That was hilarious.
WCW. He's the only one to have done that, and that's because of the Montreal Screwjob. That happened because of the Montreal Screwjob. He was so fucking pissed, because he was longtime friends with Bret. They had some banger matches too back in the day. And Rick Rude, from what I know, outside of being a womanizer, like a lot of them were, he was a pretty stand-up guy when it came to the business. So just the fact that happened.
You remember that Starrcade match in WCW? Was it 97 or 98 when Sting fought Hogan and he was like the enforcer?
Yeah.
And Hogan did not tap out, and like Sting won.
Yeah.
They said that was a shot towards Vince.
Yeah.
That was actually a shot towards Vince.
Yep.
To get paid.
Sure
I don't know how he got paid back from that, but maybe he did, because like I said, Hogan and Vince was to this day there.
Hogan screwed over Bret twice about the title. He didn't have and treated him like he wasn't equal to him or on his level. That's what he told people that told him. Didn't even say it directly to his face.
But we all know that Bret. Yeah, we all know that Bret could freaking wrestle circles around Hogan any day of the week.
Yeah. And Bret's one of the ones that he definitely screwed over. We got the worst WrestleMania 9, because of fucking Hogan and Bret and Yokozuna. And not into the fact that Bret and Yokozuna had an okay match, but the whole fucking finish was so stupid.
And like I said, I liked it, after the Montreal Screwjob, obviously he went to WCW, like I just said earlier. I think I saw like a downward spiral with him, right? I think when he got there, everybody was excited. They thought he was really going to come in to whip ass. But to me, he wasn't being booked the right way by Eric Bischoff. Whoever was the head of booking over there, I just don't think they was booking him right, Bret Hart being a part of the NWO, I don't think that made no sense whatsoever. I just don't think it made no sense,
Yep.
It absolutely made no sense, because Bret Hart is a leader. He was a second fiddle to Hogan, and that's what I really did not respect whatsoever. You can't be second fiddle to Hogan. You cannot do that.
Also, in the fact that he's coming off of this great babyface thing, and then he's joining up with the NWO when they have probably the most members. So easy, he got put to the sideline, and I can't remember him like wrestling for the first like month and a half or 2 months. I think it was like 2 months before
the whole thing with WWF. But my thing is that he wasn't booked the right way. Yeah, his main thing, yes, I think he was going after the U.S. title, right? But I think when he finally turned heel, that's when Hogan controversially beat Randy Savage. When Hogan came inside the ring, no, not Hogan, Bret Hart came inside the ring and hit Kevin Nash with a belt, pulled Hogan up and put him on Macho Man Randy Savage, and the next thing you know, he's a villain. I just thought that made no sense whatsoever. They just didn't book him right. He was second fiddle to Hogan. I just think it was too many egos over there at WCW. Like, we don't know who was. We all know Hogan was the face. We all know that. But again, like we always argue, like last week, you had Hogan, which was the biggest diva there is. So you had to cater to him. Yeah. You had to cater to him. And
it's where the big boys play.
Yeah, and
and the playground's gone.
Like, to me, I was very disappointed in this one match, right? I think it was Hogan and Bret Hart versus Sting. And who was the last person? Was it Goldberg? It was that tag team match. It was Sting and somebody else. I think it was Goldberg.
I think so.
Yeah, it was Goldberg.
Because his last match, like that's the thing, is the match that Goldberg injured him, and he wrestled 3 more matches after.
You can't have some type of match like that, and it's bullshit. Like you can't have no kind of match like that in this crap. Even though all 3 of them had to carry Goldberg, but everybody had Goldberg at this juggernaut like he can't be stopped. So that kind of match, and again, I just think the booking wasn't there. And I guess they made like a forthcoming of NWO, a black and silver version, which he was the leader, was him, Jeff Jarrett, and Hall and Nash. He was the de facto leader. So again, it just he wasn't booked right, and I just think he had to do what he had to do. He went towards the money. But WCW wasn't doing him right whatsoever. And, after that, who he had beef with Goldberg. Goldberg kicked him a certain way. He's injured. And to this day, they can't stand each other. Do we think Goldberg is really going toe-to-toe with Bret Hart? Hell no. Like, let's call this hell no. No. I just think that was a dumb creative decision.
And oh yeah, speaking of dumb creative decisions, Goldberg's back.
Yeah, like he's not coming back to lose. Like, it's redundant. Like,
and that's the thing. With Goldberg, it doesn't seem like it seems like he's probably gonna beat Gunther, and if anything, his retirement match is gonna end up being at SummerSlam, but who's it going to be up against is the question there.
Right. And goes WCW, to me, it didn't work out. Vince brought it back. He didn't go back to WWF right away. But one thing I can really do say, I'm glad that him and Shawn Michaels buried the hatchet on that Monday Night Raw. I don't know if it was
great promo.
It was a great promo. Even some people may say it was scripted or not, but the way that he called him out to Monday Night Raw and they at least squashed the beef was pretty good. I like that.
The way Shawn stepped away at first, that was the scripted. That was definitely the scripted part. I think what they were genuinely saying to each other out there was real, but when he walks away for a second and then turns back, then goes up and gives him a hug.
I thought he was going to super kick him.
I think that's what I think that they wanted that little bit of suspense. It's great. It's fucking great.
I mean, I personally think, I don't think Bret shouldn't have came back. That's to WWE. Even though a lot of us glad he did, but it's always that cloud of suspicion about his brother. Like, what the hell happened? A lot of us won't know.
Well,
a lot of us won't know.
He ended up beating Kevin Owens for the U.S. title when he came back one time there. That's what helped seal him being a Triple Crown.
And I think he won the world title too. He won the world title when he came back.
Yeah.
He won the title.
Yep. And but also he's a King of the Ring winner.
Twice.
Along with his brother. I think they're the only brothers that have both won King of the Ring.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think you're pretty much right on that one.
It's King of the Ring, and just the differences between him and his brother's king. Because like when Owen was the King of Hearts, and he was parading it around, and then got the fucking 2 Slammy awards. Dude, that was my most favorite version of Owen. When Owen had the 2 Slammies, the European title, he won King of the Ring. That was a great year. Won the tag team title.
I'm just mad that Vince didn't put the belt on Owen, man. I will hate Vince forever for that, man. He should have put the belt on.
And there was
Owen.
a good build-up at one point.
Yeah, should have put the belt on him. Even it could have been at a live show or something, but at least you could have put the belt on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, but like I said, man, you when we talked about, you could easily put Bret Hart as the greatest ever. All the accolades I went through with your help. I mean, you could easily put him as the greatest ever. So a lot of people has him as the greatest ever, man.
Hey, like I said, it was you bringing up certain points, and then I'm like, he's probably the only 3-time Hall of Famer thus far.
Yeah.
Probably, and he's also probably wrestled more Hall of Famers than anybody.
And
by far. And
here's another thing though too, and I could be correcting on this. I wonder why he didn't go in as a member of the NWO. Because to me, he had more of an impact. He had more of an impact than Six. He was, or X-Pac, whatever you want to call him. He was terrible with the NWO. Bret Hart had more of an impact.
They should have brought him in straight in as that, but but it's like how it ended up happening. He got buried in the shuffle.
Right. They only.
And I think the other thing is too. I mean, as far as bringing him in, and him being a part was drowned.
Oh man,
I don't remember. It was like half.
You're cutting in and out, Gus.
Can you guys hear?
Yeah, go ahead, Gus.
Part of the NWO.
God damn.
So it makes no sense.
As I yell at these fucking people. Worse.
I can't hear him.
Yeah.
Damn this.
Yeah. Now it's saying connecting.
Man, this piece of shit.
I've still had that same noise playing this whole time.
I don't hear the noise you guys hear, but I'm really glad I don't.
Yeah.
Like this.
I just have this little boom popping up like randomly every like 5 to 10 seconds.
That would drive me absolutely insane.
No, but I'm
paying attention. That's what helps.
I think he should have just, he should have been inducted as an NWO member at the Hall of Fame. That would have been 4. That's just.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like
that
said,
would,
he had more of an impact than X-Pac. He was terrible, but I think the reason he went in because he's tight with Triple H.
I didn't even think about that. Like with the NWO, I guess they only considered Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hogan. For that, like, are they the ones awarded for that? But no, because Sean Waltman is too. X-Pac 6. He's a part of that too.
That's why he was called 6.
So and he was there too. And I guess Bischoff. I wonder if they considered the entirety of the NWO, like the faction itself. is it? Because then that would make him a 4-time Hall of Famer.
That's because he, to me, you know how they had different versions of the NWO. They had the A and they had the B team. Bret Hart was on the A team. To me, X-Pac was more of a B team member.
Yeah. Gus had just said he should have been inducted in the Wolfpack.
Yeah, I agree. And
he would have been a great fit in the Wolfpack.
Eric Bischoff should have been inducted with the NWO too. Mm-hmm. He was the poster child of that shit. So, it's just, I mean, like I said, I just don't think they do Bret Hart for him to be one of the GOATs. I mean, that's just a prime example. Do Triple H has a problem with Bret Hart? I don't know. I mean, to this day, I can't answer it. What do you guys think? So. And I like Triple H, even though I like Triple H. I really do. I got no problem with him.
Yeah, I got no necessary problems with Paul Levesque. Some of his decisions, I question. I don't think the guy has bad intentions, though. Do I think everything's on a bit of a merry-go-round right now? Just kind of see where it lands? Yeah. Especially with Liv going out of commission last night. Shout out to Liv Morgan. Hopefully she recovers quickly. Apparently, her injury could keep her out for like 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, man, I just think it could be more room for improvement how WWE do Bret. But maybe Bret don't want that exposure. He probably doesn't want that.
I mean, if anything, he's kind of shown with going over and commemorating the AEW Owen Hart tournament. He's kind of, shown that he would, do something outside of just WWE. But I mean, it's not like man's gonna wrestle anymore. And
you know what's so crazy? I wish Vince could have done this if he made a faction with everybody in the Hart Foundation plus Chris Jericho, Lance Storm. Oh my God, man, that probably would have been the greatest stable ever, man. If Vince would have done that, man, I'm telling you, man, I probably would never say nothing ever better. I probably would never say nothing bad about Vince on a wrestling level. Never. If he would have done that faction,
there's a lot to say in the fact that
oh my God, it wouldn't have been fair. Chris Benoit, it wouldn't have been fair, man. But
there's a lot to there's a lot to say in the idea of that Bret had even said that he kind of would have stayed for lesser money, but he kind of knew that he wasn't going to get paid anyways, the money that he should be paid. And the thing is, with the timing of everything, Vince he was just on the brink of being able to make that fuck you money again. Because there was a stretch, because he had fuck you money. He had fuck you money when he went and bought out most of the fucking territories and everything. And then by 94, fucking, like, they were damn near in bankruptcy because they were running on fucking, on fumes. And then thank God for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And
business-wise, though,
what's so crazy?
They were still on the comeback.
You know what's so crazy, though? Like, when you think about faces of the company, Undertaker was never a face of the company, like the top guy. If you know what I mean, like in terms of you know what I'm trying to say. Like, he was a champion, but he wasn't like the actual face, like a John Cena or a Stone Cold. He was just that guy.
Well, because he made his whole own thing. I mean, more people remember the streak than who was the champion twice before Roman Reigns.
Right.
I don't remember who it was.
Had purple gloves. He was pretty iconic. Like, he was known and like the face of the company because it was like, wow, that's everyone knew him. That's why they were popular. So I think around that time, that'd been the only time he could have been considered, the face of the company.
Because after Hogan, it was Bret, right? He put over Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels put over Austin. Austin somewhat put over The Rock. Rock didn't really put over nobody. He got hurt, and they just gave it to Cena. Triple H,
Yeah.
was he the face of the company? I don't think so. He was just a bad guy that, let's call it what it is. I mean, in middle school, elementary, we used to love saying "suck it." Like, come on now, like he was the king of that.
Yeah.
I know people that got kicked out of school for that.
Yeah. Oh, did we lose her?
Damn, Lanaya, man.
I guess we lost her. This fucking app, Riverside, can suck a dick. Triple H and himself, he fulfilled a great role of being that primary bad guy for a long time. I mean, the reign of terror that lasted like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
There to where it was just him for 3 straight years. That was right around when I had stopped watching too.
You talking about when they had the Authority, or the one in like the early 2000s?
I stopped watching around like kind of around like 2003, 2004. Like that's when I had started like kind of fizzling out. Really when I was I went to a couple WWE shows when I was like 16, 15, 14, 15, 16. I would go to at least 1 or 2 a year. Back when I was like fucking 10, I think I went to like 7 that year because Baltimore was the hub. Just at that time for WCW and WWF.
It's crazy because it's just crazy, man. When you think about it, these past 30-something years, man, it's just
there's so much there. There's so much, and he is a big part of that too.
Bret Hart.
One thing. This is a dual shout out to Bret Hart and MJF. Don't know if you saw MJF remake Bret Hart's "Hey Kid," the glasses moment and stuff that Bret Hart had the like vignette for, where he gave the kid the glasses.
Yeah.
MJF remade it. He remade it like shot for shot.
Yeah, like LA Knight, he has Bret Hart shoes. Like he made it look like Bret Hart shoes. So,
yeah.
It's just Bret Hart.
And talk about and guess who would know his moves? LA Knight, because he was the goddamn body double for the last 3 fucking games.
Yeah.
And so he knows that's another reason why I hate that they're sleeping on LA Knight. He's probably the single most technical wrestler now because of just doing that shit over the last 3 years. And
you know what? Like someone asked me the dumbest question though, but they said, who you think did the sharpshooter better, Owen, Bret, or Sting?
Ooh,
that's somewhat of a trick question.
Well, all 3 of them had their own style to it.
Yeah, but they didn't do the same sharpshooter. So, but Sting.
Bret was always locked in and solid. He was locked in. Once that thing was in, man, you are not moving. You are not moving, but to say I quit.
He gets you in the center of the ring.
Owens, he had a lot more kind of lackadaisical sharpshooter where he would pull him around and stuff sometimes too, and like really stretch him out. Sting almost like half stands, like when he's doing it. Like Bret's like sitting almost ass down to where like Sting's almost standing when he does the.
They said Bret used to
he does the sharpshooter.
Break people's legs, man. That's what they were saying.
he wanted to harm you.
Yeah. Nah, without a doubt, Bret had it. I mean, have you ever been put into that thing?
Yep.
That thing, if
Yeah.
somebody sits in deep,
It's over.
holy fuck. That is the most painful thing you will ever have when somebody's sitting on your back with your legs all crossed up and locked in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the greatest submission move ever. That figure 4, figure 8, and probably the Boston Crab, easily. But I think the sharpshooter is the greatest submission hold ever. It's just my opinion.
I love a good camel clutch. Scott Steiner had the best one with the Steiner recliner.
Steiner, yeah.
Rusev has a
Rusev good too.
I don't know. I don't know about that, man.
Fucking Perry Saturn. Talk about one of the most underrated wrestlers of the Attitude Era. Perry Saturn. That man
was better with WCW.
He could go, man.
He was better at WCW, man. When he left Ravens flock, you know, that's when he was, to me, that's when you saw the full potential. Like I think I said on the chat, you know, Mr. Ass, I thought he was the best wrestler in '99. You know, I thought he had that much to be the world champion, but I don't think nobody would have took him seriously. You know, so.
Well, The Rock made sure of that.
Yeah.
God, my name's Billy.
Yeah, but
Bob, my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is. Yeah, that was the first It Doesn't Matter What Your Name Is, and that was done on a Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah.
Oh, Sunday Night.
You remember when Bret Hart knocked out Goldberg? When he had when he had the metal plate and he did the spear.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he hates Goldberg to this day, man. Now they passed the rumors that Bret Hart may cost him the match at Saturday's Night Main Event.
I would love that.
If I was WWE right now, if I was someone smart at WWE right now, I would be inviting Bret Hart to like come in and sit in the crowd for like every single one of them or play a part. Yeah. Like play a part someone in this. Like whoever ends up going up against Goldberg, have like Bret Hart come in and fucking coach him and be like, look out for his super kick.
I'm telling you, man.
It will end your career.
Man. Man, Bret, like I said, man, the excellence execution, man. But that's all I got about Bret Hart, man. I just that dude, man, unbelievable, man. Like what a talent. What a talent. And he opened doors for a lot of people, man. Opened doors for a lot of people. Like,
he put over so many people.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the Austin match, to where it might be one of the very few cases to where he put somebody over by beating them. Usually, you're putting somebody over by taking the pin for stuff, right? like Razor Ramon did for 1, 2, 3 Kid. But Austin didn't quit. He didn't tap out. He passed out from bleeding and the sharpshooter, and that made Austin. That solidified Austin as just like, okay, cool. This guy will not give up. Like he will rather fucking pass out and die before he gives up for something. Okay, cool. And Bret and him made each other look like $1 million. It's one of the best matches of all time. One of the greatest matches of all time. It's Bret Hart and Steve Austin. I don't know where I would rank it, but I would get it. Yeah.
That's what WWF thinks. WWE, excuse me. But
it's two of the men at their absolute best, at their absolute prime, and it sets them both off, and especially sets off Austin. I also loved his Intercontinental title feuds with Razor Ramon that Razor had early on there. He put over Razor Ramon. It just Mr. Perfect. Oh God, matches him and Mr. Perfect had. You want to talk technician work? Holy fuck!
Yep.
Holy fuck! I just watched one of them. Like I did like a solid like hour and a half of watching like Bret Hart matches and shit, and that was one of them that came up. That I was just like, fuck yes.
You one thing I think Eric Bischoff dropped the ball when he had Bret Hart, but I don't ever remember him fighting Chris Jericho in WCW.
I don't think so.
He fought Chris Benoit, yes, but he never fought Chris Jericho. I would have loved to see that. I know they fought before, but I would have loved to see that in WCW, man.
Yeah,
like Eric Bischoff, he dropped the ball on that shit, man.
Now I got to look it up.
Yeah, now I'm looking it up. Like,
I could be wrong. Anyway. I could be wrong, but I never seen them two fight in WCW.
Now I gotta look it up.
I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see that.
Oh, no.
Never fought, right?
No.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So Eric Bischoff had them. He had Lance Storm too for a period. Like it to me, it didn't make no sense. I'm glad we got to see Bret Hart versus Benoit, but not under them circumstances that happened. But come on, man, you could have had Bret Hart versus Jericho, man, like that. That made no sense, man. That made absolutely no sense.
Well, that's part of why WCW fucking failed, because they didn't make smartest business choices. They had all this talent and they didn't utilize it properly.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Man.
Yeah.
I would
they didn't have a match.
Yeah, they did have a match, right? That's crazy. I'm like, you sure? Look it up. Like, no, it's not lying to me. That's crazy. They had a feud, like, verbally, but they never had a significant match. That's cool. What I will say about Bret Hart is, I mean, he's under two lids of stew, and everyone that came out of that dungeon, you know, they had amazing, like, love for the sport, respect for the sport, and that's the biggest part of it. You know, the wrestlers that were trained there had respect for the sport that I don't think a lot of people have anymore, that you can't, like, you know, pass on. And I think that's a big part of what makes Bret Hart amazing, because he was one of the first children that came out of that dungeon, you know, that set of kids that became iconic. And that's a big part. You know, he has history, he has all his lineage, and he's still a very humble guy. He still has a lot of integrity, like unlike a lot of wrestlers do. You know, he doesn't have the same scandals. You know, he never smacked up anybody's mom in the parking lot, you know. So I think that's one thing that keeps him like a solid player. And he was amazing, like you guys said over and over, technical, top notch. You know, you don't get a lot better than him when it comes to technical wrestling. And because he was a real wrestler, he had love for the sport of wrestling. And you can tell in everything he did. And plus, he did kayfabe and everything's so good. So I think that's one thing that made him amazing.
But you know what's so crazy? Like, I was reading up on something while I was at work. And, you know, they said Triple H made a comment, was like, you know, he always thought Bret Hart was an a-hole. But this was the height of the beef, just to put that out there, because I know people's viewing this. But he said he cannot deny his ring inability. He said you cannot deny that whatsoever. Some people probably didn't like him outside the ring. I get it. But you cannot deny that. Even Shawn Michaels said the same thing. You can't deny that man in the ring. You know?
Yeah.
Like growing up, you know, we may joke around and say, all right, Austin the greatest of the Rock, but let's call it what it is. They're not fucking with no Bret Hart. Like we can go reckon and say that. They're not messing with no Bret Hart. You know? Hogan.
They definitely are not.
Let's call it what it is. You can't even mention them in the same sentence. Like, that'd be disrespectful, you know?
Absolutely disrespectful. Absolutely. Because he doesn't have the mindset, the integrity. Like, he's not even an eighth of an eighth of what Bret Hart is.
But one thing I will say, like, if you have like different tiers of wrestlers, Bret Hart will be at the top tier. He'll be one of them at the top tier. But you know, it's just crazy, man. He wasn't market. I mean, he was market, but he wasn't really market that way he should have been. That's just my That's just my personal opinion from all this.
Well, in the new generation era, there he was the top guy.
Yeah.
Which is like I remember it, clearly of just when I was a kid of just at first being like, pink. Why is that guy wearing pink? Oh, hearts. Still, why is he wearing pink? And then I saw him wrestle, and I'm like, okay, that guy can wear pink all he wants. He knows how to fucking wrestle.
Yeah, just
okay.
That's just, like I said. That's just that is just that's just ignorance. Us being little, like young guys, young girls. We don't know the significance of Bret Hart. Like it took us to really get to know the history of him to be like, yo, this dude is really ain't no joke. Like, he ain't no joke, man.
Even when we were little kids, I never loved colors like that. I do now, but I was like, he's really good. That guy's not good. You could tell the difference as kids. Like, you liked who you liked when you were younger. I definitely like Sting over Bret Hart, still do.
Yeah, no, I think
and
the thing about
some of them singlets.
Yeah, the wrestlers we grew up with, they're all really awesome. Like there's a lot of people now who are just like, oh, those are trash. But we didn't grow up like in the beginning when we all started watching wrestling with like people that were just like dookie. Like, like Blue Meanies came later, but the ones who were really young, they were all like Stings and Bret Harts and Ric Flairs and Rick Rudes, and we had all those people, Savages. Those are people who really got to grow up with watching. So it's different to think about it when you're older too, because it's a mass change.
The only realistically, if you're talking about technician wrestler, you may have to put him and Ric Flair like neck and neck if you want to go that route. You can definitely
Rick's
go
a
that
different technician now.
Yeah,
I'm like they're
Rick,
all like good, but yeah, different.
Like Ric Flair and Bret Hart, I just think they're neck and neck. If you ask me, Rick, you could make an argument Ric Flair is the GOAT. He ain't my GOAT, but you can make an argument.
Somebody's GOAT, but they're sure not mine.
He is the GOAT. You can make a legitimate argument.
Because a lot of them did learn from Sting, definitely learned from Ric Flair, Just like they learned from Dusty Rhodes, though.
Well, guess who Bret first beat for the WWE title?
Well,
Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was his first WWF title win with Ric Flair.
You know what's funny? That was Sting's first title win at Clash of the Kings in like 1991, Ric Flair. And they also were the first match on Nitro, Monday Night Nitro. Sting and Ric Flair were the first ever match. Boop. Iconic.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, Rick said it best. You can only be champion so many times because you lost it so many times.
Rick.
He drinks a lot though, so
Yeah, I know.
Like,
we don't take the metaphoric advice from Ric Flair. We just.
But him and Bret, they got along. They wrestled a lot in the 80s too. He came up into his dad's territory.
Who, Ric Flair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he came up to Canada, he wrestled in Stu Hart's territory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's something I would like to mention here. This is his arguably his greatest piece of keeping kayfabe. The Mad TV Will Sasso incident and Will Sasso match. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they do the Jesse the Body Ventura skit on there, and Will goes off script and insults Bret, and then they start scuffling it out, and they do a really good job of making it look like Bret is just genuinely pissed off and pushes Will. And then they got into a match, and Will Sasso talked obviously extremely fondly about doing that with Bret Hart in the first place, because he was like, he told him from like the whole first thing when they talked it out, he was like, so this probably end up leading to a match, though, if you want it. He's like, you telling me with you? Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, Will Sasso's like, what the fuck? He's taking a chance on me. I'm doing this whole thing, and Bret did an awesome job of keeping it, kayfabe that he was a dick and didn't like how unprofessional fucking Will was. I thought that shit was awesome.
Yeah, man.
So many.
Yeah, man.
So many great things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like way too many names.
Who?
He was a guest star on Lonesome Dove.
Yeah. He was a guest star on The Simpsons too.
Everybody's on The Simpsons though.
Yeah, that doesn't. I get credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson,
Of course you do.
Yeah. Trying to steal thunder, Christ, Lanaya. You're not on The Simpsons.
I wish I would. I will be. Don't worry.
Yeah, we can be.
But,
if we talk about them enough, we'll end up there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which speaking for Gus was having connection issues, and he wanted to say goodbye to everybody. He's going to work. Stuff. He'll be coming on Thursday to talk about Shawn Michaels, who, the most significant. The Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart is definitely one of the greatest feuds of all time. Maybe the greatest feud.
Yeah.
Maybe the greatest feud of all time.
Because I don't think you can get any better than that in wrestling.
Listen, you know what, Lanaya? I'm glad you said that was a shot towards Bret Hart, the Heartbreak Kid. Like, come on, man. That is a clear shot to Bret Hart. The Heartbreak Kid?
I mean, that's what I thought. I could be wrong. I also
like,
don't
come
care.
on, if you was like, come on. and you know what's so funny?
He lived up to his name. Listen
to this. The Heartbreak Kid, he broke heart. He left WWF. So it was called WWF that time. So
yeah, he definitely did.
He lost his smile.
The Heartbreak Kid.
Which if we ever do a list of worst promos ever, that one's going up there.
Which one?
Oh my God.
Shawn Michaels, I lost my smile.
I think it's
like, no, motherfucker, you did too much cocaine and steroids.
You know what Bret Hart? You know what Shawn Michaels super kicked Bret Hart while he was in the wheelchair? I don't know if that was real or you didn't know what them two, man. But I can't wait.
I just wish it was real. I still wish it's real. I don't care. Again, it's real in my head.
Given how much shit they talked about each other and how much they talked about how much they did genuinely hate each other and everybody else who involved, I think a lot of that was fucking real.
And I can't wait to hear about Sunny Days too. I didn't bring up Sunny Days for a reason, but
with your Sunny Days.
Yeah. There's something showing about Shawn Michaels.
Did that lead to like Bret's divorce over that Sunny Days comment? But I know he got into serious trouble over that.
No,
that was years later.
Yeah.
But that probably added to it.
well, Tammy Lynn Cinch there, fucking, she even had she was on somebody's podcast, and it was some wrestler. In fact, I think it's Dolph Ziggler, who she slept with. Talked about sleeping with him, and then talked about gave a list of 17 wrestlers that she fucked, and none of them were Bret Hart.
Yeah, but she never talks about it either. That's another reason I just think she did.
She slept with Shawn Michaels, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So no wonder she slept with Dolph.
That was the thing. She slept with a lot of the backstage. It's as far as I know, I think Bret Undertaker,
Stone Cold.
Mabel, Stone Cold, and like Kevin Nash. I think they're the only ones that like really didn't get into her at some point. She slept with Scott Hall. And 1-2-3 Kid.
Man.
The people he slept with is disgusting.
Yo,
I do not. He, especially with how sleazy and greasy he acts. Like I remember, Celebrity Rehab. Celebrity Rehab with China.
What'd you say, Willie?
God rest his soul, but that movie was probably one of the worst movies I ever saw. 1-2-3 Kid in China. That joke was disgusting, B.
That's why my head goes to whenever it says anything about him having sex.
Nasty.
Well, I'm scarred forever because I watched a lap dog hump a Great Dane.
What movie is it?
That
One Night in the Porno.
Yeah.
Yo,
I'm not going.
Yeah, I never watched that.
That was worse.
You're lucky you don't.
I won't.
That was worse than the Pamela Anderson Lee video, man. That's how terrible it was, man.
Yeah, it was bad.
It
was a
bad,
dude.
I'm like, yo, man.
I just remember when China was on Celebrity Rehab. She was on Celebrity Rehab, and he came to visit her and was trying to get her out of the fucking rehab, and he was acting all sleazy and doped out because he was all fucking doped out.
He was on meth, yeah. He talked about it before.
Yo, that I have to say that the Kim Kardashian video and Pamela Lee, those is like the 3 worst pornos I've ever seen in my life, man. That shit was terrible.
The fact that everybody in our generation has watched the same porn is kind of scary. But
I have not watched any of those. I watched the series on the Pamela Anderson Tommy Lee video and how it got exposed. I watched that series. I didn't finish it though.
Man, that video was terrible, man.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it was just for them. It got stolen, and that guy got beat up.
No type of rhythm. That shit was terrible.
Yeah.
There was no visuals for women back.
No fucking type of rhythm, man. No kind of rhythm.
Now you get your money up in your bag with that. Back then, it was just like, nah, bitch, you're all over the internet. Sorry.
Right.
Horrible, horrible world. At least porn has evolved. How do we get into this topic? Please, Xbox, don't make another porn. It just ruins everything.
It started out with Sunny Days, and then it trickled out from there, just like how she did.
Yeah, man, she looked terrible. She looked terrible now, man. But I can't wait to see what I say, man.
Killed somebody. She killed somebody in a drunk accident. I think she just got released. She did like 7 years.
I thought she was still
in. Is she still in? I thought she was supposed to get released.
Yeah, look that up. Yeah, we need like a fact checker too, man, because sometimes some of us could be wrong.
I basically am the fact checker. I just look stuff up all the time. She's still in jail. She gets released 2039.
Oh shit. Okay.
Wow, damn, we 15 years late. God damn.
She killed people. I mean,
yeah.
It's good. She shouldn't get out. She shouldn't be like Caitlyn Jenner.
Hey, look that up. Yeah. What state did that happen? Did that happen in Florida?
I think that happened in Florida. I think.
Yep, Florida.
Here we go. I ain't surprised.
Yeah, which
not surprised at all.
One of the best segments on the Click This podcast with Kevin Nash is Florida Man or Jersey guy. It's pretty great show.
I love Click This. He's a great guy. You can tell he definitely grown out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yay, so good.
But
Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Sorry, this app, I literally was on it like I got they disconnected, but I'm calling them tomorrow.
I don't know, man. This was good. This was a good episode.
I'm gonna start looking at other apps. Otherwise, we're gonna do a fuck Riverside FM app.
You know what?
We're gonna do a whole episode dedicated to say fuck them.
It seems to get up and going after like 10, 15 minutes. So maybe we should just talk shit about the app for 15 minutes every episode until they get their shit together.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, this app is terrible.
True.
Absolutely fucking terrible. And you guys are like, we all updated. I'm using a laptop. Well, there's nothing to update. I signed to the website.
Yeah. Well, I know on my Google Chrome laptop, there's an app that I have for that on it. But it works even worse than my phone, which is an actual good phone. This is a good Android. It should work better.
Well,
but
definitely on a hunt for another app to stream from because fuck Riverside. Until they get their shit together, absolutely fuck them. Say it to the camera, to the person who's watching, because you know they watch you. Anyway.
Oh, video recording error. It's come up on my screen. I know if I press reconnect, it's going to do it. So I won't press. I
Riverside was saying, fuck you guys too.
Yeah. Finally, video recording error. Yeah, you want to reconnect? You guys didn't encounter shit. You're not watching this.
Yeah, this app is terrible, man. Like, waste of a good episode, man.
I mean, it'll put itself together if you stream it. I stream it after. It'll put itself together on YouTube and stuff, but it's janky. And it's not our fault. And I'm literally texting people like, yo, it's on our phone. Thank you for viewing. I'm sorry. I had one person, I was like, y'all gonna stop playing Sting, so.
Right.
But he couldn't get into the chat to say something. Thank you, Riverside.
Wonderful. You know who's wonderful? Bret the Hitman Hart. Holy fuck, he is wonderful.
Definitely is.
And he is amazing. I feel like this recording has played out almost like his head after Goldberg's super kick.
You ruined his career? Yes.
A video recording error.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
Yeah, I just think like, you can make an argument he's the greatest ever. I'm just going to end my thing with that.
I mean, no one's really fighting that though.
And I would not argue with you. I would not argue with you on that.
Like I said, man,
I really though, like, again, he came from a school of wrestling where you have nothing but greatness coming from. So, and he was one of the first. So you can't deny that, and that's all there is to it. Tomorrow we get to talk about. We'll talk about Shawn Michaels.
Thursday with Shawn Michaels.
And that's not tomorrow. The next.
The Heartbreak Kid.
And next Tuesday, we're doing Macho Man Randy Savage, but we have special guests, the Machoverse himself, gonna hop in on the podcast, which is another reason why we need to probably figure out another app to use before then, because I don't want to be embarrassed with this really great guy who's kind enough to do our podcast.
I mean, well, we won't be embarrassed. The app will be embarrassed. It's not our fault. None of us are doing anything towards anyone. The app is. And, you know, we could be speaking very well of Riverside right now, but it's not treating us well as paying customers.
Nope. And that's the thing. It had like maybe a week or two there where it was okay. I think we had 1 week there where it was okay. Honestly, the app worked better when we first started out with it.
One panel was okay to me. Remember, I go through all of them. We watch them. They have like one solid panel so far, but everything else has been janky as fuck. And it's like, and I literally send it back to them every time. Like, y'all see this? I know y'all see this. Like, But we'll get it together one way or another. Or just keep talking shit about Riverside. Whatever. I pay for this bitch. They can't kick me off. Refund me if you want to kick me off. I have no problem with that. Give me a refund anyway. This shit don't work.
Yep.
But I'll be on with them tomorrow. Give me something to do.
But Thursday we got Shawn Michaels, and we got more stuff. Are we gonna work on that top 5 booties?
Ooh.
Are we gonna throw that in?
The top 5 booties in wrestling. Will's like, what? You guys are serious? Oh, you didn't see that part of the text?
No, I didn't see that one. I was
earlier this morning. We had a field day.
I was too busy cutting the budget in my store, but I'll probably tune in that one.
Yeah, we were talking, and not just women, because we don't want it to be sexist,
Most of my list is women because they don't got the best booties in wrestling. So
yeah, yep, it's true. Oh, it's damn true.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
This is a really great episode. Thank you guys for watching. If you got this far, thank you so much.
Yeah.
If not, I understand.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Tune in Thursday.
We're going to fix this or talk more shit about the app we use. Either way, it's going to be entertaining.
Woo.
Later.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.